And we are back after 3 months of summer. I want to say summer vacation, but honestly, like I haven't been on vacation. So let's just call it like a prolonged pause.
Yes, it was vacation for some, not us, but for other people somewhere.
I've heard people do it. I've heard that people take vacations summertime, and I gotta say, like I really don't like summers, especially because it just slows down so much, and then my anxiety shoots through the roof that I'm not doing enough. Like I'm not seeing like enough results. I'm not seeing enough interaction like with the outside world. Maybe it's just my issues.
Yeah, it sounds so. Maybe you should join the crowd that is actually not busting their ass during the summer and stop the anxiety.
Imagine what a life that would be, right?
But you have always had this problem with vacations, like such a big resistance. Like for 10 years of building companies together, you always had like this issue to say, hey, this week I'm gone.
Yeah. Well, if there's something I have learned from my therapy is that rest is a personal form of responsibility towards one's work that I'm still learning to exercise.
Okay.
This was like a really good trick that my therapist figured out how to frame, vacation and rest.
I see that there's sense of responsibility, there's dutifulness, you have to do it, it's for the good of others, because otherwise you're gonna be snappy, sloppy, unpleasant.
Yeah. There you go.
Really sold it to you. Sounds like
She did.
she's a psychologist.
She is. I mean, like we share the same therapist. That's why the results are so extraordinary. So 3 months, what have you been up to?
Wow, so much has happened in 3 months. I think last time we spoke in this format of a podcast that we were talking about homeschooling, the opportunities there. So that's still very much on the agenda. It's actually happening right here, right now. School is starting in the US, and not sending my son back to school because he's just gonna stay at home with me as the teacher and actually a couple of other neighbors who are also gonna help out. And he's gonna have what I think will be actually probably the best possible life.
That's very cool. It's I'm super excited like to follow the journey and the things that, you're going to learn along the way. And
Yeah, maybe on the next recording I'll be like,
after 3 months, yeah.
after 3 months I'll be like, oh my God.
But
no.
in that period of time, Bjorn got into racing and you've been fully supporting him. You've been spending countless hours every week on the track together with him. You also turned your living room into a workshop. So
Yeah.
why? Like, why cause yourself all that discomfort?
So there is not a good answer to that question because nothing will be rational. It just makes no sense. Let me show actually the pictures. Here is my living room at the moment. There are two go-karts. And so many parts and tires everywhere. Here's Casper trying to home office from this madness.
Well, I see that the office starts where the carpet begins. So
yeah, exactly. There are areas. We're still not running out of space. No, so the bear got very excited about go-karting. And it wasn't intended. It wasn't the purpose of my life to throw out my life savings and all my time and all my energy into this insane sport. But here we are. The kid is obsessed. He's putting insane amount of work. I've never seen him, or for a matter of fact, I've seen his dad work as hard. I don't know if I've seen many people work as hard as he does right now. He's just constantly learning, improving, figuring things out. He has a simulator at home that he trains on. He wakes up, let's go race. How can I get better? what can make me better. I feel it's a really big privilege as a parent to have your kid have such a deep passion and you get the chance to be the sidekick and a neighbor. So I take it serious. Why do it? I don't think it's a choice. I think these things find you and you rise to the occasion.
I gotta say, when you told me that you're fully going, like you're going all in, like to support him on this passion, just for a moment, I tried to imagine how my childhood would turn out if I was like in his place, and it just seems so cool. It's because it's not just like buying, like buying something and giving it to the kid. It's all the preparation, all the driving, all the support and coaching and mentoring. Like it's a lot of things that you're putting in, and it's also a dangerous sport. The videos that I've seen of crashes of other kids where they're just like tumbling down the tarmac, it's really, really impressive that you, being the person that you are, you choose to go above and beyond your own fears and not just say stop to the kid.
Yeah, there are two things I wanted to paint the picture around just so people imagine. And I know by you being our closest friend and always supportive, you know these things and you know the amount of energy it takes. But for people to understand, to start racing, you need to put a lot of practice. That practice, in our case, is in a location that is roughly an hour and a half away from here. So that means multiple times a week, driving 3 hours to just to get there, right? To be part of this. And then being on the track when 30 to 35 plus degrees, 70% humidity for extended period. Sometimes it can be 8 hours, 10 hours. If there are things that are breaking, like just stay the whole day there. And the conditions are not human friendly. It's tents where you can get maybe a little bit of shade. The sun is brutal, the heat is brutal, everywhere exhaust from the cars, dirty air, tires, tools, mechanic shops, just maybe at best some ventilator running in the tent, RVs, strangers, like truly a hobbyist place. There is zero comfort. And on top of it, you have mosquitoes that are biting you the moment you start breaking a sweat, which is the moment you literally get out of the AC of the car. This is just to be there. As a kid, as a racer, on top of all the heat, you are in a suit with a lot of protection around you and helmet for all the sessions. And in between sessions, you still keep your suit on, but like halfway through your body. So you're easily at 40 plus degrees, 100 plus degrees Fahrenheit at all times. And just for context, like I can get the bear to go out of the apartment when it's hot. He just refuses to go out. That same kid, if you tell him, come, we are going to the go-kart, he will be there for as long as humanly possible. He has never said, I can't do it, I'm too tired, it's too hot, it's whatever. No, he's gonna be there. He's gonna be smashed. He's not gonna be able to walk after 8 hours of sessions. They do roughly like 100 plus 120 laps in a day because there are multiple groups and you have to wait out for your group. A session is like 10 to 15 minutes. But imagine you are right there, centimeters away from the asphalt, running 90 plus kilometers an hour, 60 miles, 55 to 60 miles an hour in his category micro. You're in this insane heat and sun, and you have to be perfect, because every mistake, every wobbling that you do has tremendous impact. This is not a sport. We were watching the World Cup this summer and we were laughing around that as a player, you might miss a score and the game keeps going. And it's so forgiving to mistakes. Yes, it's a missed opportunity, it's too bad. But in go-karting, you make one error and it puts you out of the...
Just you might crash yourself.
Yeah, you can crash. The cards break insanely easily. Everything by default breaks at each and every session. There are thousands of components in a go-kart. From what I've learned, everything breaks all the time just from the rumbling. It's very sophisticated to actually make these karts run. And all the parts need to play nicely together because they need to withstand a lot of vibration at high speed. And just things get like unscrewed or loose or whatever. And on top of it, if you make an error, it can potentially put the cart in such a bad state that you cannot repair it for the day.
One thing that makes an impression on me now that I'm listening to you, but also from previous times we've talked about it, is that this is something that is so intrinsically his. And, there is this internal motivation that is driving him. It's not something external, because he is not really a kid that willingly do things that he doesn't want to do. As you know yourself, especially like when he's being forced to do reading and comprehension exercises. Exactly. I've never seen a person do such a performance.
Only on the World Cup.
Only on the World Cup, exactly. She's ready for that. But I wanted to hear you talk a little bit about this and also how it compares to the other kids and their motivation of doing it, because it's obviously a hard sport. I didn't know this before you told me about it, but it's very physically demanding. It's not just sitting and driving a car, and it actually requires a very good physique, and it requires a lot of mental sharpness. So it's not something that it's by default an easy activity to do.
Yes, so it's very demanding.
What's the motivation of the kids, and how Bjorn's motivation compares?
I think people are there for different reasons. Some kids are there as a shared activity with the parents. To be honest, it's very much that community, that and kid activity. There are supportive moms like me, plenty of them. And in general, any family that is in this sport, go-karting, becomes a family because it's such a all-demanding sport. And everybody plays their role. But primarily because it's so demanding technically, and you need to either buy your way out of help, mechanical help, or learn the skills. So that's why a lot of dads has opted in to become the mechanics of the kids. So it becomes very much like dad and a kid shared activity. So I think that some of the kids for sure are there because of this shared experience with their dad.
Okay. Let me stop you here, because
From Intrinsic,
when we've talked about it, you've been very direct. And the thing that you have told me is that for some kids, their reward is getting a break from it, like not doing it. Whereas like for Bjorn, it's like completely the opposite. Like for him, a reward would be getting an extra session. I want you to talk about this, because this is something that is just, I feel there is a lesson to be learned there.
Yes, he didn't have an activity where it came purely from him. Everything was something that he has maybe shown interest in, and we were trying to enable it. But then eventually he was kind of like, but do I really need to? With pretty much any other sports like tennis, soccer, kung fu, you name it, right? Basketball, it's always like, yeah, sure, I can do it, but do I have to? And I think that some of the kids that are on the track are for sure in this category. They'll be there, they can do it, but it's not their obsession. And what I see in him and what I enjoy and why I put all this hard work is that this sport makes no sense to do unless the kid really wants it, because it's so expensive, it's so energy demanding and time demanding that unless it's driven by them, I don't see what's the point in it. It's not like fun, well, let's keep the kid in sports. It's good to exercise. Let's go kick the ball a little bit more. Maybe eventually it grows on him. Right? It's not that type of sport, because this sport is also dangerous. It requires insane amount of concentration, because as we spoke, it's not just about the car getting broke when you make a mistake, but you put yourself in danger. These are small kids. Some of them are down to 6 years old. They're driving with, again, close to 100 kilometers an hour. They're centimeters away from the asphalt. They have no seat belt. All the protection they have is on their body, which is just
Crazy.
a suit and a rib cage and a neck protector and a helmet. This is everything. Like their whole body is exposed. And any mistake they make can put themselves in a tremendous danger as well as everybody else. So you need to be really concentrated. And if you don't love something, if you don't do it with that passion, essentially, even if you do it, okay, I gotta go, I gotta show up, you're not gonna be there for the entire day. You're not gonna have that level of focus under these severe conditions of 40 degrees, 100 Fahrenheit, in a suit, insane heat, just burning you. You don't even have the will as a grown up to be there, not to mention as a kid that needs to perform with all their strength. You need to be physically fit and mentally focused to perform each and every session. So kids will give up. They'll be doing it for a little bit and then they'll be like, oh no, it's too hot, I'm too tired, I'm hungry, I'm da-da-da-da-da. And when you have the obsession that he has, you can push through the discomfort. And that's what I see in him, that suddenly I see him in so many other contexts being like, and I'm like, oh my God, my kid doesn't have willpower. My kid is like whiny. And I'm like, well, what did I do wrong in life and in my parenting? But then you see him in under these conditions that is his element, his desire, and he transforms in this completely self-driven, disciplined athlete. And then you realize it is all about internally how much you want it. And as a parent, I was like, hell yeah, this is what I need to do. I need to support that and stop paying attention to the rest.
Yeah. And that's why you decided to choose homeschooling instead.
Yes, so I can flip his days to be about his passion and a few hours of academia and really give him the best chance I can to pursue his dreams.
It's very amazing that you're doing. And it's also like, it's very bold because you and I, we've grown up in a system where everybody goes to school. So it's the accepted thing. It's the normal thing. So choosing to do something so radically different, I mean, unless you have like that determination and the answer to the question why, like it's not an easy thing to do. But one thing it gets me thinking is, listening to this, is some time ago, like I developed this theory that the need for discipline is a byproduct of a person doing the wrong things and then trying to force themselves to do it anyways.
So
And
true. So
yeah, because I was like trying like to discipline myself into like being more structured and following through tasks that I didn't want to do. Like I thought that it was a problem of discipline. But the thing is that I don't have a problem like sitting down and doing the work that I'm excited about. And sometimes there could be some mundane tasks, but at the end of the day, I've done so much of things that I've chosen them. And this is, I think, with the example of him is so, kids don't filter things out. So it's even like a more distilled version of that truism, that if you're doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, you're going to need all these hacks and systems and carrots and sticks. Because like, if it's the thing that you really, really want to do, you're going to do it anyways. Even if there's nobody to see you, even if there's no reward at the end, even if it's, 40 degrees Celsius hot, even if you're tired, you're going to do it because you love it. And I think we've been told this in some way, but at the same time, a lot about like that hustle culture that has been so popular these past 10 years, it kind of inclines people to go against one's instinct and just push through at all cost. So I don't know, like I started like changing like the way that I look at work when I realized this, because I've been trying like to force myself like to do type of work that I wasn't really finding like that much meaning in. And I was just punishing myself and self-disciplining myself like to do it.
It's a really good learning that we are extracting from seeing this unfold. And it can change. It's a kid, it's an 8-year-old, right? Like passions change and so on. But this learning for us as grown-ups is really powerful, as you said, because we can see it from the outside. I think we have felt it many times in our work in the past years. We have felt when it felt right and we have felt when it felt wrong. But now that we see the example from the outside, it's so clear when it's wrong and how this is the wrong path in general. It's not just something to persevere through. He does Kung Fu to support his strength and the discipline. And for many, many reasons, it's an incredible sport to do as the secondary sport because it gives him the core strength, it gives him the mental discipline, it trains his focus. The teacher is a very wise sensei, so you get this really good package. But he hates it and he doesn't want to do it, and it's like pretty much anything else in his life that we had tried where we want him to go, he doesn't want to go. And that means every single session is about discussion like, I don't want to go, you gotta go, but this, you still have to go. About that, well, yeah, sure, but you still have to go. It's exhausting, but at least there's a why. And I spent a lot of time explaining him the why and say, well, you're just not gonna last physically. You may want it as much as you want, but you cannot last to the end of the day in these conditions unless you're physically very, very strong. So you have to do it. And then he's more receptive to going. So I still think not to disregard that doing hard things also includes doing a lot of things that you don't like. Like you as a designer, I've noticed this pattern in you, like you always create this great vision for a brand. Like you first listen to people. What is their concept? What is their motivation for working on this business? What is their personality? What are their values? You really hear out people. And then you do this market research. Okay, what is already out there? What are brands like that, like visually looking like? And then you get to this frustrating moment of looking at the blank canvas in Figma. And now you have to come up with a brand because everything is so intangible. Everything is just words and concepts. And now you have to create. And at this moment of time, usually you start the process very excited and then you hit a plateau and you absolutely hate it. You hate your work. You feel the most incapable, incompetent person. There is a crisis, identity crisis. Am I really good at that? Am I really meant to do that? Did I actually want that project or not? And everything is questioned. And once you push through it, I have never not seen you deliver an incredible brand. Whether it's for an NGO, for a for-profit company, big company, small company, whatever it is, you always come out with something where people feel, yes, that's us. That's who we wanted to be. This is how we want to look. We have just never been able to translate it into something visual. And you wouldn't get there if you didn't push through the unpleasant part, right? It's not like you can cut out the unpleasant part and be like, okay, I want to be an amazing designer, but just always feel happy and at peace and everything should just flow.
Yeah, and always just create exceptionally creative and quality ideas from the get-go.
From the get-go.
No, you're right about everything that you said about my work. I just signed behind it. No, thank you for these words.
But there are projects that flow more. And this is where I wanted to turn the mic back at you because you created recently something truly inspiring and mission-driven that has also inspired me as well as many people in our community. And it came from the heart. It came truly from just you not wanting things to be the way they are and wanting to improve them. So can you introduce the project Bulgaria by Design you have pioneered, created, shaped up, had a TED Talk about, and just share more about this passion-driven activity of yours?
To say that the design is an obsession of mine would be an understatement because it's just, for me, I think I see the world through visual first. It's just how I've always been. And I find it so fascinating just how our perception for reality changes through the visual. And it's a form of alchemy that can turn something of no value or little value into perceiving it as something that's very, very valuable. And even though that this is what I do and I understand this better nowadays than when I started, I still find it just amazing that if that the way that it works and this effect. So the backstory for Bulgaria by Design is funny because I got invited like to speak at a local TEDx conference, and I could choose the topic of my own. And I thought, well, I mean, I can speak about my personal journey through burnout, but even just the thought of this was just like, no, I'm kind of sick and tired of like going through the same things. Like, let's just do something exciting, like just something that's looking forward. And I've always wanted to see better design of Bulgaria, like in every aspect. And for me, the main motivation for this is that I see how much the visual aesthetic can do for the way that we perceive something. And I wanted to do this experiment and basically use this as a use case, the visual identity for the country, and show people how it can change our perception for the government just by the looks of it. And just for a little bit of context, like generally, like in Bulgaria, there's not a lot of trust in the government. This is the standard thing for many governments. Like people don't necessarily trust them. Maybe like the Nordics and Switzerland are the exception of the rule. But in Bulgaria, it's even more pronounced. And there are good reasons for that as well. So just the thought of like, just the question of like, how would a Bulgarian government that feels trustworthy would look like? It's kind of like asking, how would...
Yeah, it's a paradox.
Yeah, it's like, how would dry water feel like? Like this is the kind of a reference. And I started working on this. Like I hopped on a call with a friend of mine that I was a mentor 8 years ago. I really wanted to work with another designer. It was a much bigger thing than originally I anticipated because I'm generally like very optimistic and I am notorious at underestimating how much something actually requires and overestimating just how awesome and easy it's going to be. So we started working on this together and we got into this rabbit hole of we even considered like, hey, what if we changed completely the symbol? What if we used like a completely different symbol for it?
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy because we are talking about the official government and people have a lot of feelings when it comes to their
100%. And
no.
let me tell you, I was like hearing all this like imaginary voices just shouting at me, like, what are you doing? Like, don't touch this.
Yeah, it can definitely be like a religious feeling.
Yeah.
But you wanted to do it in a respectful way and preserve things, but still instill some coherency and beauty across different governmental institutions.
Because the main design problem with the current visual identity is that it feels fragmented. It feels that nobody cares. And I make the argument that not only that it matters, but to a huge degree is part of the main thing for a government, the way that it presents itself. Because this is the thing that the perceived value and power and authority is being materialized. And I showed two examples. Like one is in Denmark, which is really, really beautiful visual identity. Like you just feel that somebody cares deeply. And it's a very interesting type of design decision because like they are using the crown for the logos of every single ministry. So they're using the crown of the monarchy, but they're doing a little differences that kind of create characteristic for the ministry itself. So the Ministry of Forests and Agriculture has leaves in the crown. The Ministry of Finance has like a keyhole, and the Ministry of Education has like a book. But it's done in such a beautiful way that you don't notice until you really, really look. So why I'm giving this example is because Denmark has notoriously high taxes. Like they can go up to 64%. Like it's a bracketed tax, but it's 64. And people that see their government, like first of all, they trust their government. They see their government as somebody that cares about the interest of the population. And this is expressed, like it just feels this way. And the other example was with the Ukrainian ministries. Like we can both agree that these people have very different priorities right now. But even so, like the visual identities for their ministries are really beautiful and really felt through. So anywhere you look in history, like whatever you have like some kind of a power, especially like with dictatorships or like authoritarian types of kings and whatnot, it's like they invest in the appearance because like that's like they want to appear stronger, richer, whatever. So this was like the thing that I was missing like from our like Bulgarian visual. Exactly. Now we're getting to the good part. It just felt like nobody cared. And this is what people already believe, that the government is careless, incompetent, corrupt. Like you name it, if it's negative, like people agree with it. And it's never true. I mean, whatever problems we have, if there were not people that were caring and competent, because I'm sure that, you know, there you have both, like this country wouldn't function. So I wanted to create that visual identity together with my partner, Kalina, that represents this and that shifts the perspective of how the state could feel and look like, and hopefully like inspire a transformation in our selected leaders. But this is like the very aspirational, optimistic part of my psyche. So let me show you, like I can share my screen just to...
I love listening to you about these things because I always learn so much.
So here's
for
like
somebody that doesn't, let's say, doesn't read, what we looking at here.
Okay, so this is Bulgaria by design, and this is the website that I put together that kind of encapsulates like that manifesto, that vision for why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do is create like examples that kind of make this look like a real thing. And it's funny because like a lot of people that have seen it, they thought, we thought that this is like a real project that the government has initiated. Which is like, this is the cool thing about design. It just makes things look real that may not necessarily be. So the main thing is that...
so it might become real if they start listening.
Yeah.
It's the inspiration to inspire them. Because when you're just an ordinary citizen, you can still contribute to your society with your competence. And in your case, your superpower is visual identity. And you just didn't ask for the permission to do it. You didn't wait around somebody to ask it of you or give you the tools.
Well, I thought somebody's got to do it. And to be honest, like it's also something that I did for myself, mainly as any sane young person in my country. I want to see like a positive change in our society. And this is the thing that I can do to the best of my abilities. Like some people are better at other things. Like this is what I do with ease and play. So that's how I did it, so that I can feel that that's my contribution. I'm doing this work for free to show you what it can be.
And you see how it ties to this inspiration from the previous discussion. When you do things in the flow and with a why, you can withstand a lot of discomfort. I'm sure just creating the work, which was tremendous body of work, hundreds of hours that you had to put into this without pay or anything, just free out of your will, came out of exactly because you had a strong why. Like you would stand the frustration. You were obsessed with the bigger picture, right? With the mission.
Exactly. And honestly, like there were like moments throughout like this when like there was so much self-doubt that was creeping in. There were some world events happening, local events happening that were just making me question this whole thing. I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like, what's the point? And this is like where the work with my friend Kalina made it possible, because when we got to talk and sit down and do the work, all of these worries disappeared, and it brought me back to my core, like to the main thing, which is that design has the power to rewrite reality. And yes, like there is a lot of horrible things and injustice happening, but from everything that I can do, this is what I can do that can contribute for a better state, for a better society. And it's something that has the power, like, to change people's behavior, as it's been shown by different studies. You might have heard about the broken window effect. So during the 70s, like there was a like the New York subway was like really, really um, desperate looking. Like there were graffiti. There were graffiti, broken windows, and basically at one point, like this is how it was looking, and there was like a lot of crime. So the new mayor was trying to figure out how to solve it, and obviously, like they could increase like the amount of policing that they could do, so they could invest in that. But what he decided was something that seemed at that time very counterintuitive, which was, we're just going to clean the metro. We're going to clean it. If there is a broken window, this subway cart is going to be fixed within 24 hours, and it's going to be put back to work. Like there's not going to be a single graffiti that will be left uncleaned. So they did that. And what they saw over a period of time was that there was a sharp decline of crime rates. They didn't need to increase like policing. Like it's just the environment, like the visual environment modified people's behavior. And this, we've seen this also like with littering as well. Like if you have like one piece of trash on the ground, there is likely for people like to throw another piece of trash. Like all this like things, we're subconsciously all the time like visually informed, and we're adapting our behavior to it. So when the government is like presenting itself like with dignity and respect and with intent, you feel that these people like are operating from a functional place, that there is coherency. Like right now, like we have around like 19 ministries, and all of them have different logos. Like even at that kind of a base level, it just doesn't seem like it's the same, that that they're working for the same country. So
it's very interesting what you're saying as well about the behavioral changes, but also the type of people it will attract, something that is coherent and beautiful and intentional. It will also attract better talent. It will attract people who have that dedication and value system just subconsciously. So
yeah,
it will start manifesting itself into reality of better choices, better outcomes, better performance. This is something really interesting that together you and me started as a project, because we saw how much we are passionate about supporting the bear in the go-kart racing. And you called me and you said, hey, why don't we do a brand for him? I want to make sure that he looks the part, and I know he put so much effort. And anyway, the go-kart itself has stickers and colors on it that you need to change every few months basically, because they get destroyed. So now that we were about to order new stickers, we were like, hey, well, why don't we create it out of intentional choice, not just randomly select something to be colorful there. And
Yeah.
it started a little bit with the helmet that I did for him. Like that was in a way like the first investment into the brand. He had like a white helmet like everybody else, and it was a design problem, and we couldn't distinguish which car at this fast pace, especially during a race where there are multiple cars very close to each other. It's hard to see from distance which ones was his and what's going on. So we wanted to kind of have this visual feedback of, oh, that's him. And I ended up creating a custom helmet for him. And I put a little bit of intentional thing, drew a bear there, and made it in his colors. And then we started talking about the cart and how can the cart represent him. And again, like objectively, he doesn't need that. He's totally fine. Nothing changes out of doing it. Yet, you and me, with all the work we've done in branding, marketing, and entrepreneurship, we believe that a lot changes. I think imagine your parents taking you so seriously to create a brand for you, right?
For sure. So many things change, like with the visual identity, because it's also that other people take you more seriously. I mean, obviously, like this is not a substitute for the main thing. You know, if he wasn't a motivated driver that would put all his waking up hours into improving his driving, that brand wouldn't matter. It will be just misleading. It would make somebody that is mediocre look like a champion, and after after a brief amount of time, let people see through it. But when you have like a brand that looks like this is like top notch, and the person is actually like super locked in and focused, then it's just even more reinforcing like that feeling that, okay, like this is the real deal. So
Yes.
this was like my intention, like when I started working like on this, and it was a very interesting visual identity because like it's different from previous things that I've done. And let me see, like the visual aesthetic. So usually what I do is I collect a lot of like visual inspiration. I collect it into like one big mood board, and then I start to actually curate it into something that I feel has a coherency. Like you can think of it as a visual expression, a representation for how like that brand is going to look like. And also because like this visual identity is for Casper as well. So it's called Torno Racing, right? Like it's both of them are like under that racing team. And
I would say that I'm also under the racing team.
You're also under the racing. So it's like three people already, and your daughter is also on the racing team. So all four.
Yes, she still doesn't reach the pedals, but in her head, the one of the go-karts in the living room is for her. So
there we go.
You just need to visualize it, claim it.
The feeling that I wanted to create is this intent, this obsession, but in a very not in an aggressive way, but like in a very precise and directional way. Like it's not just like some wild aggressive power that has been unleashed. No. It's very methodical. It's like very deep. It's very obsessive, and that's the feeling that I'm getting like from this visual language. Like it's very graphical. It's
So
very,
here, just for the context of others who don't know the branding exercises that we're doing here, but you have essentially these are other people's brands. Like you have F1,
yeah,
you have Yarko, you have tons of other brands, and you, for whatever reason, something captures your attention with that brand, whether it's the typography, the colors, um, the patterns, or whatever it is, and you capture it, and then you bring them together, the ones that feel alike, and then you create this shared language, kind of as inspiration. This is an inspiration board for the types of patterns, colors, and typography you will be using for our brand.
that's right. So basically, these qualities that I just described to you, like in one way or another, I see them expressed throughout like these visual designs.
Sharpness, dedication.
Yeah, like for example, especially like in this shape and this one here, like it really reminded me in this one, it really reminded me of like that um acceleration and deceleration that you have around like the racing track where
Mhm.
you go really fast and then like you're slowing down, you make that very precise turn and then you're accelerating again. So it's this part is not science. This is taste, gut feeling. There is, you can say that there is a certain amount of poetry interpreting things in a way, and you have like every designer will gravitate naturally like towards like different visual aesthetics. Um,
You're
one
also
thing,
very clean, and because you are by
I'm a
craft,
very
you're
clean
also
person. It's,
you are, but by craft you're also photographer. So it's always interesting how you use you always bring photography into the mix of elements, and you open the horizon of people how they can use not just illustrations, they can use photographs in their brand identity to create a feeling, to create a presence. So you see like this tire, like it's not just tire, that it's something related to motorsports. It's a vehicle. It's just the cleanness of
mm,
the white, like how simple the shape is, how hidden the bolts are, how you have this one particular stripe there just to make it visually exciting.
yeah, like it's so interesting with this example, like that little amount of color, how much it does.
Yes,
And
it speaks volumes,
same,
right?
yeah, same like with the oldie Revolut red color. Like you have it very intentional, like very sparse. This is, by the way, like one of the things that oftentimes you're gonna see in different brands. It's not just the colors, but the combination and the ratio of how they're being used. And with them, what you're gonna notice is that you have a lot of gray, you have some black, and you have a little bit of red, right?
Yeah,
So if you were like to do this differently, if you had a lot of red, a little bit of gray, and a little bit of black, you'll get a completely different feeling.
yeah,
And this is true with brands. Let me see, like if you're gonna recognize which brand that's going to be. It's gonna be like
yeah.
this,
So then it's Ferrari, right?
and this. Can you recognize this brand? It's
Donuts.
there you go, and it's not even an M. Well, that's the thing. Same with Coca-Cola, right? Like you have this combination. So this is very powerful, and especially like in the context of the abundance of visual information that we're living in. So this is you can think of it as an icon. This is an extension of the logo. Just as this logo here works extremely well on small sizes, and it can be very recognizable. The same is true for the color combinations.
I think we should leave the brand review for the next episode.
Anticipation. Sure. Let's do it. Let's do it for the next one.
Now we have so much to catch up on. We just brushed over some of the highlights of our life in the past months, but I think it tied really neatly together with the different missions we've been on, but the way we've supported each other, and I'm endlessly grateful for our friendship and for your support. You're incredible.
The best friendship. As your grandma, let me see how can I translate it?
Camaraderies.
But you're right, Diana, like we're just over an hour in our episode of Too Long for a Call.
Yes, this one was definitely too long for a call, but so many good things to cover here. I'm just in awe of your abilities, and it's so fun when you describe these things with the colors, because to me, I'm on the receiving end. I love working with you on the branding exercise where we capture people's emotions, people's value system, we extract the whys and whats of the business, but then when it comes to then visualizing this, I'm at loss, and then you somehow emerge with these concepts. As you say, it's like poetry. You have to imagine like it's an art form to create this, and I'm always like, explain this to me. I see it's pretty, but what am I exactly looking at and why?
Yeah.
Awesome. We keep going for the next session. Not in 3 months, but hopefully within a few days.